Yes, people, what's going on, man? Welcome back to the channel, man. People. How many times do I have to keep talking about football being a game of two halves? I've got no energy left. Yeah? I've got no energy left to keep watching poor halves and hoping that my team will turn up in the second half. Yeah? Against Palace, brilliant first half. Second half, shocking, bro. Against Wolves, shit first half. Second half, brilliant, bro. Today, it took until the changes in the second half for me to actually see my team pinning this Bournemouth team back. Because I was telling you guys, Bournemouth are going to come out and play. They're not going to just sit back. Yeah? And we need to be very wary about them on the wings because the way they're whipping the ball is dangerous. You were seeing today how they're whipping in the ball. Cole and Fofana, they had a lot of headers to deal with, bro. Even Tosin as well, when he came on, I thought he came on and did really well. Yeah? We defended the box really well. But overall today in the first half, listen, it was not good enough. You know what I'm trying to say? Like individually, I'm picking out Neto. I thought Neto was getting the ball a few times in the first half, was finding him, but he was quite sloppy on that side. And for me, listen, he can do a job on the left, but the issue is he's better on the right. But right now, you've got Madueke in form, who obviously deserves to be starting. So Neto right now, he needs to be benched in all honesty because we're gonna get to Sancho's performance. Because for me, Sancho came on and absolutely changed the game. Yeah, 10 out of 10 performance today on his debut, and he got an assist for Nkuku as well. We'll get into his performance because he deserves a little bit of a monologue. Yeah, because bare people were texting me in my group chats talking about, oh, hate watch, let's watch Sancho now. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, thanks for coming, boys. Because Jaden turned up today. You know what I'm trying to say? But listen, like I said, individually, there was a few players that I was looking at today that weren't good enough. You know, starting from the lineup, I was not happy seeing Disasi starting at right back. And that's something that I spoke about in my preview, people. Yeah? Because he doesn't break his line enough. Off the ball as well, you can just beat him, right? As if he's not there. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't really understand how to cover his wide areas. He's not quick enough. So even if in his head, he wants to, you know, fly into a challenge or run past a guy, his body doesn't allow him to do it because he's very slow, right? And today on the flanks, in terms of our fullbacks, we didn't really have much width. Cucurella, I was seeing Cucurella pushing up further than Vega when Vega was inverted. So you had Levi, Fofana, and Disasi that was splitting. So Fofana was playing as like the central centre back. Levi Cole was playing as in a left back position basically as one of the three, right? And then you had Cucurella just flying off high, and I didn't really understand that because we weren't really playing the ball in between the lines, getting it to him, right? He was going so far. And I was getting scared because I was thinking, yo, if these lot win the ball back on the transition, what are we going to do then? Right? Vega and Caicedo, to be fair, they're quite solid as a two in the midfield. You know, Bournemouth, it was a bit of a game of ping pong in the first half. We were attacking them. They were attacking us. You know, they were whipping in the ball, like I said they would. But we were dealing with it quite well in the box, which I said we need to do because that's a very dangerous, you know, thing that they were doing. They hit the bar early doors. Yeah? Early doors. Right? And there was a few times where they were pressing us like I expected them to, and we were beating the press. But unfortunately, going back to the individual performances, Madueke, very wasteful today on the ball, right? I'm seeing him a couple of times getting on the ball in a good area. I remember there was Neto running towards the goal. You had Palmer, you had Jackson. He had about 3 options. But in his head, he got so confused with the amount of options that he had, he messed up the final ball. He played it to Jackson, who was even offside, right? It was a shit. That bit of play there was terrible decision making, right? He got it again in a similar sort of area. He had it a little bit deeper in the second phase, right? Instead of going forward with the ball, he just plays it backwards. And you could even hear on TV the away fans were saying, "Yo, what are you doing? You got to go forward." Yeah. And this is what I mean about Madueke at times. I like Madueke, but there's certain games where he looks like he can't be bothered. Yeah, like he's too big for the game. Pulling down his shorts, doing all of that. I'm like, bro, you're a good player. Lock in, please. Yeah? Today, he wasn't locked in. It was a poor performance from him, right? Jackson as well today, very sloppy on the ball. Very sloppy on the ball in the first half. There's a few times where he could have actually started attacks. He was just giving it back to the opposition. Yeah? Too many people just kept giving the ball away in that attack. Because like I said, was finding ourselves in good areas. The difference between us and Bournemouth in the first half was that their final bit of quality was better than ours. our final bit of quality wasn't good enough. We kept breaking down our attacks, right? And Vega and Caicedo, none of them were ball carrying from the midfield. Yeah. You had Palmer that was trying to get the ball back, but every time he's getting the ball, he's having a man on his back. Yeah. A couple of times he flicked it around the corner to start attacks and whatnot. But there wasn't anyone really that was getting the ball from the midfield and playing it in between the lines. You know, I felt like everything was safe between Vega and Caicedo. And every time he did go in between the lines, again, we just weren't good enough. You know, Cole, he gave Jackson a through ball in the first half as well. And my man, he missed it. It's like he's just shot to get on target, you know? So listen, I was looking at that first half and I was thinking to myself, we need to see a big difference in the second half. And hopefully Maresca does something about that right-hand side, because for me, it played right into Bournemouth's hand. Yeah? Because they know that with Disasi, we're a little bit further back. And there wasn't anyone else on the other side that was making those overlapping runs either. Like I said, Cucurella was basically playing in midfield. He was playing up in midfield, which I didn't really understand, right? So second half starts, you know, I'm seeing the same sort of problems. Obviously, Sancho came on. First few seconds, he had a little bit of he had a good play on the left hand side between him and Cucurella. He played the ball to Cucurella in between the lines. Cucurella just whipped it in. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit behind Jackson. You had Caicedo. He got the ball as well. Very, very good build-up play there from the back, actually. Levi played it to Caicedo. He played it to Jackson, through on goal. But unfortunately, it was a little bit too heavy, right? So I could see that the patterns were still working. But again, just that final bit of quality wasn't on. Madueke still wasn't involved in the game, like I've said. Disasi was still on the pitch at this point. So I'm looking at Maresca now thinking, yo, please, make some changes. And that's exactly what he did. He took off Madueke. He took off Disasi. He brought on Felix, he put Palmer right wing, and then he played Fofana right back, right? And straight away, you could see the difference. Every time I'm seeing Caicedo getting the ball, he's a little bit further up now. We actually started to pin Bournemouth back. And at this point, I started to feel like, okay, now we're actually going to create some good chances for the attackers. Yeah, because we're pinning them back and we're consistently recycling the ball. And that's what we should have been doing from the first half, right? Felix came on. I thought he was good in parts. I thought he was okay in parts. But most of the time, he was a little bit sloppy. There was a time where he got the ball over the top. His touch was shit. You know, he could have actually touched it down and just finished it. But he was a little bit erratic today when he came on, right? But Jadon Sancho, yeah? Jadon Sancho comes on that left-hand side. And honestly, he was just a breath of fresh air today. His decision-making, the skills, the flickery, the way he was just dropping his shoulder to beat his man, the way he was just playing it in between the lines. And the thing about Sancho that I really like about Sancho is the weight of pass. Yeah, we see a lot of the time with Mudryk, Madueke. Sometimes these guys they just kick the ball and they don't really focus on the weight of pass, and it's always too heavy or it's a little bit too light. Sancho most of the time he will just play it nicely. He'll just caress the ball, similar to what Palmer does, yeah, and he will just find the person. He done that a couple of times with Cucurella. He done it again in the second half where Cucurella whipped it in and it was a little bit too far out, right? And then for the goal, when Nkunku came on, because obviously Jackson came off as well. Nkunku comes on. You just see Sancho manipulating, trying to, you know, dance with the defender. He plays it. He punches it into Nkunku. Yeah. Brilliant bit of play from him as well, because he had about 3 defenders around him. Some people were saying it was poor defending and that, but it was a good bit of skill from Nkunku. And that finish was not easy. Yeah. It was not easy because he was leaning forward and he had to literally get that in the corner and he caught that cleanly. Yeah. And that's what I always say about Jackson. Lock your foot when you shoot. That's what Nkunku does. That's why he hits it so cleanly like that. And that's why it's hard for the goalkeeper to get to it, because he just locks his foot. You know what I'm saying? So I was relieved. I was relieved when I saw that, because there's no way that we should have walked away today without a W. Yeah? I don't think it was one of Cole Palmer's best games today. Big props to Sanchez. I thought Sanchez was amazing today, to be honest with you. I thought, you know, he saved the penalty that Fofana gave away. I didn't even touch up on the penalty. That was shocking from Fofana. Shocking. And before that, I'll be real, I thought he didn't really put a foot wrong. Yeah? Him and Cole, they didn't really put a foot wrong. Right? Because like I said, most of what Bournemouth was doing was coming from the wingers. Yeah? But centrally, they were all right. But that was shocking from him to try and play back to Sanchez like that. Yeah? And I'm seeing a few people trying to blame Sanchez. That wasn't Sanchez's fault. He bailed us out there because that was just before half time as well. He kept us in the game. And he made some good saves today as well. Right? I know on paper, it looks like Bournemouth had a lot of shots and that, which they did technically. But a lot of the time, it was just going straight to Sanchez. He was just collecting it. Yeah. They weren't really creating many clear-cut chances. Like they hit the post in the second half, they hit the bar in the first half. You know, but apart from that, there wasn't really any one-on-ones. Yeah, apart from obviously the time when Fofana wanted to give the ball away and we gave the penalty away. But Sanchez today, I've got to give him props, man, because he gets cooked all the time. You know, from me as well. I don't think he's good enough for Chelsea, but today he helped us get the 3 points. You know what I'm trying to say? But listen, it's really important that in the next game, right, the next game that we've got, we look a lot better in both halves. Yeah, we can't pick and choose what half to turn up in, people. Yeah, individually, like I said, you know, I didn't like the fact that he was playing Disasi at right back, but that was still more than enough to win the game because we're still finding ourselves in good areas, right? I don't want to see Disasi at right back again. Maybe just play Fofana at right back and then play Tosin at right centre back because he was actually good when he came on. You know, the way he was bringing down the ball, he was just intercepting it as well in the air, in the box. You know what I'm trying to say? No one really ran past him like that. There was one bit where he just gave it away sloppily, but, you know, we kind of dealt with it in the midfield. And I thought Caicedo in the second half, it was a captain's performance as well from him. You know, he led from the back. You know what I'm trying to say? So we just need to make sure, like I said, next game, you know, we're a lot better individually because today, some people I'm looking at, Palmer, Madueke, Jackson, you know, you lot weren't good enough today. You really weren't, you know? So listen, it's interesting. It's interesting because I don't like Nkunku up top, people. You lot know I don't like him up top. But if he does this more often, there's not much I can say. You know, if he's playing up top and he's scoring goals, I can't really drop him. Yeah, even though I think Jackson is a better option out there because he stretches the pitch a lot more. If Nkunku's bagging goals, so be it. He came on today in the 78th minute. It's hard to see where Nkunku sort of fits in at the minute in this team. Felix came on before him, you know, which is quite telling. Do you know what I'm saying? And when he scored, he celebrated to say like, "Yo, you lot trying to forget about me." Yeah, we've got a cold finisher on our hands, right? Because Arsenal, they can bring on the likes of Jota, sorry, not Jota, Trossard off the bench, like they did the other week. He scores. Liverpool can bring on the likes of Jota off the bench. They can score. You know, last season we didn't really have anyone like that we can bring off the bench, and we're looking at them as if they can score. Now we've got someone like that, even if he starts. Yeah, he can score goals when he's in positions like that, which is very good. But on to the next one, people. On to the next one, because last season, a game like this, we probably lose that game, if anything. Yeah? The subs would be mad defensive, you know, more heads would drop, more performances would be shit because there'd be more people out of position. It'll be peak. So like I said, there's a lot of improvements to make. You know, like I said, I don't think defensively today, you know, Bournemouth was sort of running through us. I thought it was just more, again, on the wings where they were quite dangerous. You know what I'm trying to say? It was a game where it was going back and forth, but in the second half, we managed to get a little bit more control. To be fair, in the first half as well, we had a lot of the ball, but we weren't doing much with it. You know, we wasn't really doing much with it. But we moved people, man. But listen, let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about my take on the game as well. Until the next one, man. In a bit. Love.